Yeah, just before I begin, actually, how many of you have heard of Dify? Can I get a show of hands, maybe? Okay, okay. Have you guys ever tried out using Dify by any chance? You have. Great, that's awesome. How do you like it? Oh, thank you. Yeah, so Dify, for all of you who haven't heard about us, we are a open source platform for creating generative AI applications. And currently, I think we have around. So yeah, this is the screenshot I take from OSS Insight. And basically this shows the star trajectory for LLM tools on GitHub. And as you can see, we were kind of far behind when we started out in 2023. And now we're number 2 on the chart, just right behind the company that I wonder, but you guys probably know, LinkedIn. But yeah, so right now we have around 45,000 stars on GitHub, and 400 plus contributors, doing PRs to our code base. So we're kind of expanding pretty fast, especially in Asia and Japan. So it's pretty exciting time for us, and we're also part of the NVIDIA's incubator program. So I think this picture really summarizes the problem that we're trying to solve. Namely that we see a lot of quasi-programmers and programmers, developers, who can really easily get into building generative AI applications, right? Whether you're using like GPTs or other low-code, no-code tools, it's really easy for to get started. You copy like a repo or some demo from LinkedIn, but there's such a great chasm between that to a production-ready app. And this is something that's I think you might relate to, because when you open your phone, maybe the most frequently used app that's AI related, probably ChatGPT, and that's like what, like $20 per month, right? And think about how many like SaaS subscriptions you pay for other companies. And I think so the value here is really underdeveloped, and I think as a company, we really strive to close that gap and allow more people to actually develop and create production-ready apps that create real value. So the way that we try to do this is kind of like taking all these like fancy and complicated concepts around generative AI. Like prompt engineering, observability, like choosing foundational models, and of course like there's your business logic, which is really important. And we try to create really simple and robust abstractions around them, and basically combine them in a really intuitive UI on a unified interface for it to orchestrate and play with. And by doing this, I think we're trying to solve at least these 3 really key challenges, right? So as the AWS people also mentioned, foundational models is really important. And we really do believe that being model agnostic is going to drive us forward in the future of AI, because right now we see explosion of different models, ranging from locally deployed models to closed source OpenAI ChatGPT models. And we have built a really strong foundation in basically integrating all these different providers through the same interface onto our platform. So as a user, you can just go on and just add your API key and just start using these models right away. And Bedrock's probably something somewhere in there as well. I actually did that integration. And it was such a pain, actually, because I think when I did that integration, they didn't have a unified API for it. So I kind of had to do the Anthropic integration and then the Cohere integration, and it's different from the native Cohere and Anthropic integrations as well. So that was a pain, and glad that they solved that. And the second kind of challenge that we're trying to solve is context. So that's the Bedrock people also mentioned. It's really related to RAG, and I'll mention this later with TiDB Vector. And the third one is that concerns is procedure, namely the problem that LLMs are really just one-shot kind of input-output. And you cannot really embed any sort of procedural or stepwise execution into it. And That we try to solve with the creation of agentic workflows. And I think the easiest way to really showcase what we do is through demos. So I'll just start with demos. So like I think I can just probably give you a brief introduction of like the really essential building blocks of DeFi through this application actually. So basically this is I think a SVG image generator and it takes an input. This is going to be like a noun or a person's name, and then it kind of like generates an SVG image that kind of produces a really sarcastic definition of the noun, right? So I was playing with this, and I think this is pretty straightforward from just maybe if you look at the node structure, where you like when you have a starting node, and then that goes through like a LLM node, which like passes the input from the start into the LLM. And then there's some code transformations, and then ultimately like that goes into an answer node. So it's a quite simple structure. And I think like by presenting it as a visual workflow, you're allowing more people to really participate into the application creation. Because imagine, like like a product manager going to like, like Jupyter Notebook, right, changing your prompt. That's very difficult. Whereas on the interface, like everyone can kind of participate and make their input. So yeah, like it's also like a better way of collaborating. So yeah, like if I just show you like how this works, right? Maybe I don't know actually. I can input I don't know actually. Maybe Sam Altman. So this is like debugging right on the side. So when you edit your workflow, you can see kind of like how it runs. And this is the output, but you can also see kind of like like the steps and the results from each step that went into it. So this is just what you see is what you get debugging, which is really nice. And when you see the results, like this is some like yeah, this is some like sarcastic definition of like like what Sam Altman image is. Yeah, so I think that should give you an idea of how DeFi kind of works on principle. And to get to like creating our demo, I'm gonna create just a new app actually. So here I can choose create from blank, and I will create a chat flow app, which is so the UI is gonna be in the form of a chatbot, and I'll give it the name Dify TiDB Vector Documentation QA. So I think that's gonna bring me to a new canvas, and it's like it also starts out really simple. We have a start node, some LLM, and then an answer. And now we can add things, right? So if you want to actually like create a knowledge base, or like to actually answer just questions about TiDB vector, we gotta import the knowledge somewhere. And the way that we do that is by going to knowledge, navigating to knowledge, and creating a knowledge. So this is also like a really simple interface, and we try to hide a lot of the complexities that you don't need, like KNN, right? And those algorithms from you, so you can kind of like focus on your business logic. And we have an option called sync from website. And here, like, we kind of like did this integration with our partner Firecrawl. So basically, you can input a website URL. So here, I'll actually go to, this is TiDB stocks. And maybe copy that URL back. And if I hit run, this is just gonna crawl the website. If the Wi-Fi is good. And then after that, you'll be presented with different options for to set up the embedding and then the retrieval strategy. So there are different options that you can choose. So I'll go with automatic embeddings and high qualities. You can also choose something that's doesn't involve embedding models as well. And so we try to like present everything in kind of like a really intuitive interface for you to play with and experiment. That's friendly to beginners. Yeah, actually, this is only a single web page, and to save time, I actually have crawled the entire thing, and I've kind of stuffed it in a separate database, which is here. And I'll just go ahead and head over back to my app and use that. And I'll just really easily add a knowledge retrieval node right here. And so for each node, it's really easy because I can just define kind of the input variable and configure it with the settings that I want for it to kind of like work within this kind of chat flow. So here I will actually add a knowledge node. It's this one. And kind of maybe configure the retrieval setting a bit. So I'll choose a re-ranker model. .8 is kind of too high. So yeah, like we have all of these settings that you can play with. And so here with the knowledge retrieval node, the input is set, and then the output, you can view them here. And all these output, along with the output from the previous nodes, can be accessed from nodes later on. So if I head back to this LLM node, now I can add the result from the previous step into the context. And I'll say something like, the user is asking a question about TiDB Vector. And I can really easily embed the query from the user here by just typing a slash and choosing the variable from the start node, which is the user query here. And then I can then basically prompt it to also use the context that is given. Answer the question from the user. And LLM node, so here, like, this is just outputting the previous LLM's output, which is good. And if I hit preview, then I can just really easily kind of preview what I have created here. I can ask something really simple, like, I don't know, how to get started with TiDB Vector. Yeah, and it kind of like gives you all the information that kind of it found from the database. Also, it's really nice that it also shows a citation right there. And if you're satisfied, with what you create, you can go ahead and publish this. And then, like you can view it just as a user might view it in a chat interface. And I actually had like a more complex app that I wanted to show you guys, but I think there is time constraint, so I'm not sure how far I will go. Yeah, but maybe I'll show you guys the end results from here. So I created a, if I only want to view, so this is like, by the way, a team workspace that kind of our teammates also, they used to play around with different apps. And if I want to see only my app, I'll just go to the ones that I tagged by myself. So this is the end results which I built. And as you can see, this got a lot more complicated than the one that I showed you guys before. So here, like, not only did I have knowledge retrieval, there's also a perplexity search, which I added, which kind of like goes online and searches the user queries from the web. And these two nodes came in parallel, which means that they are triggered at the same time, and they go on asynchronously, executing their own task. And this if-else node waits for both of their results to come back before executing, which is really nice if you have like a lot of different data and a lot of parallel processing that you want to do. Yeah, so like now the answer node kind of combines the results from the previous nodes and tries to like answer this from a more holistic kind of perspective. So it combines like the more authoritative knowledge from the documentation and also web search results. And like another really nice thing about this is once you have an app that you're satisfied with, you can really easily share it by exporting it to a DSL. So this is just a basic YAML file, which you can then import into any other Dify instance and have it working again instantly, which comes in really handy. And Dify comes in two kind of formats. You can either use it as a hosted service, which I just demonstrated, or you can use it self-hosted on your own local machine, which has the maximum flexibility and data retention and security. And for the self-hosted version, we do offer the community version, and there's also an enterprise version, which has more like kind of freemium features like SSOs, those kind of things. But we really try to like not limit the core feature set that people need to use to build these applications. And we try to give people the freedom to use those without buying the enterprise version. And for both of these, we are integrating really tightly with TiDB. So for the cloud version, starting next week, actually, all the RAG workloads will be run on TiDB serverless. Yeah, because like just as you guys heard previously, we think that like it's obviously really generous for TiDB to offer a free tier. And also like with the pay-as-you-go model, it's really quite nice for us to like pay only what was consumed, whereas like with our own kind of hosted infrastructure, we're paying for that all the time, with variable loads. So for the self-hosted version, actually, so right now, like this is being deployed with Docker Compose, and like it's really also easy to set up TiDB with it by just changing a few variables in the Docker Compose file. And yeah, there you go. But a caveat to this is that actually this only works with empty TiDB kind of databases. So you cannot really configure like your own kind of RAG strategy. You can now bring like an existing database and have it work with TiDB. with TiDB. And that really circles back to the challenge part that I was talking about, namely, like providing RAG openness and modularity to Dify as a platform. And I think what we want to do in the future is actually to enable different RAG solutions, whether it's from TiDB or from other vector databases or from Amazon Bedrock, to be easily integrated into Dify. And for that, we will be launching an external knowledge base feature really soon, likely this month, that kind of allows you to like add a knowledge base directly in the UI, that like that's configured with a customized RAG solutions, whether you build on your own or you configure somewhere else. Yeah, I think that's it for my talk. And finally, before you go, we have actually prepared a 3-month coupon for Dify Cloud. So if you enter HTAP 2024 at Dify Cloud at checkout, you get 3 months for free. It's first come, first serve, so please go try it out and leave us some feedbacks. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.